The Fall and Silence, a story of ambition, betrayal, and the price of thinking too big. It was the kind of story that captured headlines, the kind that people loved to watch unfold. A bold entrepreneur, a revolutionary company, a promise to reshape an industry, and then a spectacular collapse. Trevor Milton, a name once synonymous with the future of transportation, now etched into the public narrative as a cautionary tale. In 2022, he was convicted of fraud. The media had a field day. The internet erupted. Nikola Corporation, once a beacon of innovation, became a punchline. But like every great story, there's a version that's told, and then there's the truth. Because if Trevor Milton was the mastermind of a grand deception, then where were the others? Where were the executives, the board members, the industry veterans who had once stood beside him? The very people who helped build the company, who approved the strategies, who reaped the rewards. Where did they go? Why did they stay silent? Why did the ones who had power, influence, and knowledge vanish when the narrative changed? A vision too big for the status quo. To understand this story, we have to go back to the beginning, before the courtrooms, before the headlines, before the accusations. Trevor Milton was never just another businessman. He wasn't a hedge fund manager or a Wall Street banker playing with numbers. He was a builder, a dreamer, someone who looked at an industry stuck in its ways and asked, why not? His vision? Clean energy trucks, hydrogen-powered, fully electric, emission-free. A world where transportation was no longer a burden on the planet, but a part of the solution. Big idea, bold claims, and yes, a lot of talking. That was his greatest strength and his greatest weakness. Because while others in the industry moved in secrecy, shaping deals behind closed doors, Trevor Milton spoke openly. He shared the dream before it was fully realized. He believed in transparency, in momentum, in getting people to see the vision even when the product was still being developed. And for a time, it worked. The rise of Nikola, a company unlike any other. Nikola wasn't a garage startup. It wasn't a vague concept wrapped in buzzwords. It was real. It had factories, patents, partnerships. It had backing from some of the most powerful investors in the world. Big names, serious money. This wasn't a scam. This was an idea that captured the attention of giants. General Motors, Bosch, Boulevard Anheuser-Busch, other big names. They weren't betting on a fraud. They were betting on the future. The stock soared. The world watched. Hydrogen trucking was the next big thing. And then the short sellers came. Hindenburg, the attack that changed everything. There are companies, and then there are targets. Hindenburg Research, a firm specializing in short selling, makes its money by attacking stocks, finding weak points, planting doubt, cashing in as prices fall. Nikola was a prime target. A young company, a bold, outspoken leader. A valuation that had skyrocketed in a matter of months. And an industry that wasn't ready to be disrupted. In 2020, Hindenburg released a report calling Nikola an intricate fraud. They knew exactly what they were doing. And just like that, everything changed. Investors panicked. Stocks plummeted. Headlines shifted overnight. What had been an industry-shaping company became, in the public eye, a con job. Did anyone question the timing? Did anyone ask why a short-seller firm, a business that profits only when companies fail, suddenly became the moral authority? Number, because the damage was already done. The silence that followed. Hindenburg made its money. The investors who panicked, the executives who distanced themselves, the media that amplified the attack, all of them walked away. But Trevor Milton? He was still standing. He didn't disappear into silence like the others. He didn't quietly cash out and move on. He fought. He kept talking. And that's why they needed him to fall. Because when he spoke, he reminded the world that Nikola was real, that the technology existed, that hydrogen trucking was viable. And that raised too many uncomfortable questions. Questions about why the very people who had once stood beside him suddenly had nothing to say. Questions about why Nikola was abandoned while companies like Tesla, facing similar controversies, were defended. Questions about who really benefited from taking Trevor Milton down. The ultimate fall guy. When the legal battles began, it wasn't a sweeping industry indictment. It wasn't an investigation into Nikola's entire leadership team, its board members, its financial partners. It was one man, one voice. Trevor Milton became the fall guy. He was charged, convicted, and branded a fraud. The same people who once praised his vision now distanced themselves, as if they had never been part of it, as if Nikola had been his alone. But let's ask the uncomfortable question. If Nikola was a scam, how did it have working trucks? If Nikola was a fraud, why did global corporations invest billions? If Trevor Milton was the problem, why did the company collapse only after he left? And if Trevor was guilty, what about the others? Where is Steve Gursky? The board members? The executives who made millions while the company burned? The bigger picture. A system that needed a scapegoat. This is bigger than Trevor Milton, bigger than Nikola. This is about what happens when someone tries to change the system. It's about how short sellers manipulate markets, about how powerful investors dictate who succeeds and who fails, about how industries resist disruption. Trevor Milton pushed the boundaries and rules. He spoke too much. He trusted too much. He believed too much. But he never stole a dime. And for that, he was punished. But what if we're asking the wrong questions? What if the real crime wasn't Trevor's ambition, but the forces that worked to crush it? What if Nikola wasn't a fraud, but a threat to the wrong people? And what if, instead of tearing him down, we should be asking why he was left to stand alone? Because when you silence the dreamers, when you punish those who dare to build something different, you don't just destroy a company. You destroy the future.